on the treasury with dead to daddy and mommy sorry. This labor bun shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard, life crippling, we a collective menace, menace, menace to society. Loud. This can end in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this labor party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society. This administration turning out to be the PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with dead to daddy and mommy sorry. This labor bun shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard, life crippling, we a collective menace, menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan. Ideas or structure is the people who left to suffer. No pub, no peace, clear unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake under these enemies of the state. They ain't cheap, can he get liar? He really a proper plain labor third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DEC join the cult and the greedy. He just a menace, 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 menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. And the labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country growing up is smoke. One Mr. Smiley and 10 money one. Busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we. With this menace, menace, menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst we infrastructure. Loud. This can end in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this labor party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society. This administration turning out to be the PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with dead to daddy and mommy sorry. This labor bun shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard, life crippling, we a collective menace, menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan. Ideas or structure is the people who left to suffer. No pub, no peace, clear unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake under these enemies of the state. They ain't cheap, can he get liar? He really a proper plain labor third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DEC join the cult and the greedy. He just a menace, 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 menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. And the labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country growing up is smoke. One Mr. Smiley and 10 money one. Busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we. With this menace, menace, menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. And the labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Unless this ain't no joke. Like the whole country going up with smoke. While Mr. Smiley and 10 money one busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy upon all of we with this menace, menace, menace to society. Society, them are enemies of the state. Lord of mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their hand on show. They got to go, oh, oh, oh. They got to go, oh, oh, oh. These menace to society, them are enemies of the state. Lord of mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their hand on show. They got to go. Society, them are enemies of the state. Lord have mercy, under the weight of the lies, they need their hand on show. They got to go, 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 oh. They got to go, 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 oh. They got to go, 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 oh. They got to go, 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 oh.
It's the start of the week. It's time for a new perspective. It's time for Unfiltered. Join AZARD GUMBS, lawyer and deputy leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. Tune in every Sunday evening from 7:30 p.m. on WinFM. Join AZARD GUMBS as he breaks the mantle and cuts through the unfiltered political noise to bring you the facts. Unfiltered every Sunday evening on WinFM 98.9.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Greetings to everybody. I am AZARD GUMBS, Deputy Leader of the People's Action Movement, and also host of the program, your program, the People's Program, Unfiltered. In studio with me this evening, I have special guests. I have the leader of the People's Action Movement, Natasha Gray Brooks, and I also have the Deputy Political Leader of the People's Action Movement, Lincoln David Pell. And we're going to be speaking about issues concerning our Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We know the theme this evening is labor pains. We know the country has been suffering under this administration for the past 2 years. Many persons have been saying that this labor ain't the labor that they remembered before, and this labor administration is increasingly unpopular. And so we're going to speak about some of the issues. We know that the debate for the budget is tomorrow. We know that the economy is still, we know that the economy is suffering, and it takes a People's Action Movement-led country administration to bring St. Kitts and Nevis the progress that it needs right now. And so I'm going to allow my guests to speak. I have with me, as I said before, the political leader of the People's Action Movement. She's here for the first time on Unfiltered. And we have the deputy leader, my fellow deputy leader, Lincoln Pell, also here for the first time on Unfiltered. So I am going to allow the leader of the People's Action Movement to now speak, give some words as we talk about labor pains this evening. How are you doing?
Good night, Azad, and good night to those who are viewing online and also to those who are listening via traditional media. It is a pleasure to be here on Unfiltered. The theme for tonight, you said, is labor pain. I think normally a female, when they go through labor pain, it wouldn't take that long. I know it's a 9-month process in terms of making the baby, and some persons go through labor for long hours. Sometimes it could go into a couple days, maybe a week or so forth. But the past 2.5 years has been torture. Torture for the ordinary man and woman, torture for the businesses, torture just in general, because as you rightly said, nothing is happening. The economy is at a standstill. Businesses are suffering, and we have to champion the cause of everyone. You know, the labor administration makes it look like, they are working so hard for the people, but I think we really need a reset. We've been given a labor administration by default, and it has caused St. Kitts and Nevis to be on a back burner. And the People's Action Movement will continue to agitate because people are fed up of the Juliet administration, and the People's Action Movement is in a position to start unleashing candidates and start putting plans in place for the next general election. So we will be in every area of the community because we are being touched with labor pain from constituencies number 1 through to 8 and over, sometimes even in Nevis. Persons may be feeling these labor pains, but we will continue to be here to massage persons, to be able to hold their hand during these pains. And when the Pam baby comes into the arms of everyone, we know it will be a feeling of joy, happiness, and the People's Action Movement is always about the people, so we'll be touching everyone.
And I know, Natasha, many persons have been saying, as you have rightfully said, and this administration is so unpopular. They are doing nothing for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. A lot of persons are saying that they are an uncaring government, an administration led by Jew who has done nothing significant for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. The Prime Minister says that these things are happening and no one is feeling it.
It's as if we are going up hill like molasses slowly. Nothing. So you hear them, they take a picture, they say, okay, this is happening. When you look 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, they say this is happening again. So, for instance, the smart hospital, the homes that they promised, and people are wondering, are they just taking us for a fool? Are they just trying to hush us down? But the reality is people are more intelligent than Dr. Johnny's team think, and they will send them a rude awakening.
In fact, and I'm sure Mr. Pelly could come in on this too. What are your constituents saying? I know you do house to house. We all do house to house. I myself do house to house in constituency number 4. I know you do yours in number 7. What are persons saying when you do house to house?
Well, as the person said, good evening to everyone listening, and I want to say peace to our nation and peace to constituency 7. And I'm here to address their concerns. And good question. Every time I go to the constituency, one question: what is happening? What is the government doing? We made a mistake. We hope Pam could get back in to rectify the situation. The concerns are some areas are in need of water. For whatever reason, I just have no answer for that. Because it's kind of shocking to see. This is the first time in my life I recognize that you have drought, and I don't know how to account for the problem. And it's not that we have the sugar industry, where all the water is going. So that's one problem they have. And then the other problem, especially those persons in the Molyneux Phillips area, about the Molyneux Primary School, the Joshua Obadiah Primary School, when it's going to open. I know I touched...
the construction of the new school.
Well, actually, the structure is not really badly damaged. There's just one section of it had get burnt on the inside, because it's a concrete structure, so clean up and whatever. So I just don't understand, because they have an area where the office, and I think was the kindergarten, whatever. That section is not touched, So people are wondering why taking so long? And this was a promise during the election campaign. And I came on the radio many times, and then I think the education minister, when I mentioned it, said he's gonna get it done. Still haven't been done. He said we'll get done before school in September when you're gonna open. School already closed for Christmas season. It haven't been done. So these are some of the questions, along with sometimes we have the roads, especially areas where they put in the houses. When rain falls, it's not paved or anything, so you get washed out. So these are some concerns that they have. And with the water is farmers as well, because we have a farming community in that area, especially in the Molyneux Mansion area. and they have an issue with water. So you realize these are some issues that the government said will get sorted out for a while. And every time I campaign is that coupled with the high cost of living. And I know we had our meeting down Old Road Friday.
Number 4.
And one of the things I was addressing there is that the government's duty is to make sure cost of living is affordable to its citizens. And now I would like to say that is where PAM comes in, because what happened? PAM want to make St. Kitts and Nevis prosperous once again, and even more prosperous than when it was, when PAM was in power during those times. So I just want to end there and just to let persons know what my constituents are saying, and hopefully that they will, this time around, overwhelmingly vote for me during the next election so that we could get all these problems sorted out.
Yes, and I know in number 4, a lot of persons are complaining about the roads. We have roads that are terrible. I did a video a year ago talking about the roads at Conyers. I tagged the representative, the headless representative that we have in constituency number 4, Samuel Duggins. And up to this date, there has been no movement on the road in Conyers. When there is heavy rainfall, the road is depleted in such a state that it really damages persons' vehicles. Sometimes the road, the area is impassable. And so persons have been complaining, the persons of Conyers have been complaining, especially where they have the new housing development that was done on the Team Unity People's Action Movement in 2022. Unfortunately, after the homes were given out, we lost the election. The roads were already being carved out, so persons could have those roads. Labour coming to power, nothing happening.
So basically what you're saying is that the funds were already there and allocated.
I would assume that, well, based on what the actions were, it seems as though some sort of negotiations were in the process to have it done. I know when the Honourable Lindsey Grant then was the leader of the constituency, I know one of his aim was to get the roads done, and I remember the roads will have totaled somewhat of perhaps millions of dollars, but it was something that was important to the people of constituency number 4. We look at Green Acres, the roads deplorable, they need paving. Just the other day I spoke to a constituent from New Guinea and I could see it for myself, roads deplorable again. And so when we look at all of these roads that are not in the best condition, and we have a representative that flies out and seem more interested in the walk up than doing the walk, the people of constituency number 4 are asking, where is Mr. Duggins? Mr. Duggins was in constituency number 4 during the last election, and previously was in number 4. You couldn't miss him. Every day he walking on the street. Every day he greeting people. Ask him where he is now.
So he's a tourist to the constituency.
He's a tourist to the constituency. To the country.
And just remember, one of the other things that some of the persons talk about is the prison. Because, with such a project, even though you have the concerns, especially when you come to the CBI, that's a big thing, Mr. Martin is talking about that, is that the persons in constituency, especially from that area, were looking for jobs. And so some person would ask, well, you all will continue when you all get back in, what will be the thing? Because people want jobs.
I know you talk about jobs, and this is something important as well, because we look at construction. They say they're going to build 2,400 homes.
That could have created so many jobs for our people.
I don't even think they have built 24.
I don't even think they've built 6. And you chuckle, but you think about the Labour Party, and you think, how stupid do they think the people of St. Kitts and Nevis are? How foolish do they think we are? They're going to make promise after promise. They're going to elevate the expectation. So you think that you get 2,400 homes after the 5-year period. You think you're going to get 600 every year. And then you don't even get 2.
And the sad thing is, they don't have the manners, nor the decency to come and say, this is what is causing the delay. We met some hurdles, and so we really cannot give you 600 per year, but we will give 100. So much so that persons will not have that legitimate expectation, hoping for a house, hoping for job creation, hoping for even in relation to the businesses, the supplies, the necessary steel, etc., the furnishing of the homes. So they have not come back to the public. They have not come back to the public, and everything, every time this Prime Minister is asked a question, it's like, okay, soon come, soon come, soon come. And we take a picture again, we fool you off, soon come. Hey, we're running out of time.
I think Bob Marley had this song about the bucket, go to the well, but and one of these days we're going to follow, and you could fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And I think this is where we're at right now. And it's kind of sad because, it's our country. And I believe it doesn't matter which government inside there, even though we are in the opposition. It is still reflecting that our people are not getting what is justly and duly they deserve. And therefore, that is why I would like to put it out to the people now. Yes, we might be too early to say we might be campaigning, but you know what? We're in politics. And it's never too early to campaign. And I just want to ask the persons to start thinking right now to give the People's Action Movement and our new political leader, Shannon Books, that opportunity to show we can make St. Nevis what? Prosperous again.
Because what we have now is an administration that clearly do not care about the people of St. Kitts.
Because even the big business are crying out, and that is where we get inside there. We know what it is to make business prosperous. Because we did it in the past for a whole 15 years, and even when we were in the unity business, yes, we had a prime minister, but one man cannot do it. And I know for a fact that a lot of these prosperous ideas that talk about economic development and funds came from the People's Action Movement. Because even to ask certain questions, where are these? Answers were not coming. But we're not here to really go too much into that. But it's just to let persons that we know what to do to get the economy going. We know what to do to make people have the monies in their hand. Because you check the first word, people. I mean, we put people first. Action. We're talking about action. It's a movement, getting persons involved. And getting persons involved, including the businesses. You guys are lawyers, and sometimes in the legal frame, a business could fall in the same bucket as a person. So therefore, that is what the People's Action Movement is about. And our policy or philosophy is just about that. Enriching the people, enriching the business and the nation, uplift the nation.
Yeah, so clearly we have an administration that do not care about the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, do not care about the people who have elected them. And over persons are saying that. We had VAT Day, or VAT-free day, and persons are saying it's one of the driest they have ever experienced. Persons are saying that they couldn't even afford to go and purchase items on a reduced VAT day. And so we have a serious issue here in St. Kitts and Nevis whereby the common individual is struggling, whereby the common individual do not have the means to ensure that they can live comfortably day by day. But we have an administration, a set of parliamentarians who thought it best to increase their salaries 33% without any consultation, without any care, without any concern. And then we have a prime minister who says to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, after you get your 8%, well, that is equivalent to a double. And so persons are asking the prime minister, what is he talking about? And every time he speaks, persons are wondering, what is he talking about? As the political leader has indicated, he has listed a number of things that are happening, and we hear the average person asks the question, it happening, but it not happen yet. It's as though when he says something is going to happen, he feels as though that's a checklist, and that no more is necessary or needed to be done. So once I say, Aspire is happening, that's it. Me got to do the work. Me got to make sure that it actually comes into fruition, because I don't call it.
In addition to that, when he cannot say that, he blames the previous administration. He said, but this is what we meant, and this is what we meant. Come on, you're here 2.5 years. The honeymoon is over. It is about time to create an atmosphere for your country, an atmosphere of progress, an atmosphere of empowerment, and that has not been happening. And so when the journalists ask him and tell him, technically things are not going well, he said he's not aware. And clearly
He must not be up
he
here
must not be here
because he's not here.
he's not here. And whenever he's here, he's disconnected. He drives and takes pictures, and he's not staying tuned as to the needs of the people. And so when persons are crying out, when they go to the supermarkets and they see the high costs in terms of their food bill on minimum wage, Dr. Drew is getting his food free, whether he eats fish all day, because I gather he doesn't eat certain meat kind, so he can afford that. Tomorrow morning, some parents don't have anything to give their children, and he has the audacity to tell the hard-working civil servants who are working tirelessly, who are working under circumstances, some of them in mold-infected buildings, that you got an increase in January, and it's equivalent to a double. You got $1,000 in September of last year, but $1,000 done long time, because some people had things so hard, they have been in the negative, that $1,000 went quick like hot bread and butter. So you think people have that $1,000 in their pockets still? I mean, yes, he's talking about Aspire, okay, it is the revolutionary program, etc., etc. When will that kick in? When will that kick in for the youths, so that they can have a benefit? It takes a period of time. Some of them are very far from 18. So, hey, he tries to polish up everything, and the people are seeing through this mirage that Dr. Drew has created, and his advisors are not advising him properly. So,
in fact, as you listen to this song at the beginning, you hear that he had an advisor basically telling people how to get away with murder. You're telling the persons of St. Kitts and Nevis that to jump on a plane and leave. Mm-hmm. And so we have a situation where the Prime Minister has surrounded himself with persons who are not able to advise him and give him the advice that is needed to lead the country. And so we have persons being paid where that qualified person could have been found, because you have the resources of the state. You realize that we have a Ministry of Health, a hospital, and this is not to discredit the hard-working staff at the JNF, but we have a Prime Minister who's also a medical doctor, and persons would have expected that after 2.5 years, the healthcare system would have been better.
Yes.
I thought that would have been the case. And you know what happened as well here? The high cost of living as a touch medical situation. It could cause some problems as well. Because one end, we are encouraged to eat healthy. But if the cost for that healthy living is out of reach, it will create a problem.
But I want to go in for, because I think this is significant. We have a Prime Minister who has been a medical doctor
for a number of years, huh?
For a number of years. The healthcare situation in St. Kitts has not gotten any better. This is his area of expertise. His expertise is not in finance. His expertise is not in national security. We have a Prime Minister who's a medical doctor for years, and we can know better in the Ministry of Health. And the Ministry of Health, I think, is a significant area, because when we need it most, many of us can't afford to fly out. Many of us have to do with the resources here within the country. And so we would expect that a Prime Minister who's also a medical doctor would have been doing more. So he talks about this smart hospital. He talks about all of this construction of this hospital. But what we have now is not best equipped to serve the people of St. Kitts.
But you know something, Azad, and the entire nation and all persons who are listening? There's a saying, a bird in the hand worth 2 or 10 in the bushes, because at least you have that bird. We have our hospital, so therefore it's to make it work and work for the people. Yes, we're going to get a smart hotel. Smart hotel, sorry. Because he says smart, it nearly makes me seem as if it will be a hotel, because there you have luxurious things and so forth. But hospital, my friends, hospital, everyone, smart hospital. And therefore, everything, the emphasis seems to be more on the smart hospital as opposed to solving the present problem that we have at the hospital.
And the reality is, the smart hospital is not going to be built in 2 days. And so the present structure and the necessary operations of that structure need to be dealt with.
The administration of it as well?
In terms of the administration, making sure your staff is not overworked, making sure the equipment is functioning, making sure that there are the necessary pharmaceutical supplies. These are the things that make people feel that they are human, the compassion. And so that is what is lacking. Because if you're going to transfer that same modus operandi to the smart hospital, what do you think will happen? What you think will happen? It will be a bigger chaos.
Mm-hmm. Because what happened? The problem has been solved. It was just transferred to this new smart hospital. So therefore, the smart, I'm not sure if it's going to be outsmart in itself or something.
Okay. And so we are about the half time period. It's 8 o'clock already. I know the time is flying. It's already 8. And, well, we started at 7:30. So it's almost, the half time period will be at 8:30. So I really thought that we were in the halftime. But in preparation of the halftime, this is the carnival time. And we know that we have a former candidate who actually sang about Where is Pam? You understand? And so we want to release a song at 8:30, whereby we will be telling that former candidate where Pam is. You understand? And so we ask persons to stay on the live, stay tuned, because we really will be ensuring that persons listen and are aware. So whoever asking, or maybe joining him asking where is Pam, they will get the answer there and then. And so, engineer, I want us to take a short break at this time. I want you to put up that song, The Menace, because we have a menacing government right now terrorizing the people, and the people can't take no more. And I think that is a fitting song for this evening, because this government has to go.
Where he located, and a menace could also be a danger to himself too, huh?
Yes. So we're going to play that song, and we're going to take a short break. And of course, when we get back, the phone lines are open. You can call in. You can discuss the issues dear to your heart.
Yo, this can end with a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society. This administration turned it out to be. The PM got a so-called advisor, telling people how to get away with murder. It's non-stop attack on the treasury with the daddy and man mix sorry. This Labour bunch shot to the core, lacking integrity, that's for sure. Economy start hard, life crippling. We are collective menace, menace, menace to society. It's like it's all cheap and no Indian. It's like lunatics running the asylum without a plan, ideas or structure. It's the people who left to suffer. No pop, no peace, clear unemployment. No money for bills, much less enjoyment. Total advantage, that's we fake under these enemies of the state. AAG, Nanny get lawyer. He really a pamper playing labor, third politician now for sure. Going from door to door in number 4, law and order not a priority. No one in charge of the nation's safety. DAD join the cult and the greedy. He just a menace, 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 menace to society. Government buildings, well them the worst. We infrastructure seem like it costs. Electricity and water up with the moon. Every month you hear the fix coming soon. Under labor life for this pure misery. Oppression, depression and tyranny. This gang is a menace, 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 menace to society. Life in SKN, this ain't no joke. Like the whole country growing up in smoke. One Mr. Smiley and 10 money one. Busy fighting, jockeying for position. Lord have mercy from all of we. With this menace, menace, menace to society. government build loud. This can end in a serious dilemma. Now that the country been run by labor, this pure mayhem, scandal, disorder. With this Labour Party in power, is this a social club in disguise? Or some kind of criminal enterprise? What a menace to society, this administration.
And we are back to Unfiltered, and of course we're talking about the issues of the country. We realize that we have an uncaring administration, and unfortunately in my constituency we have a headless representative. In fact, if you look at his constituency office where his picture has been posted, there is an image of a representative without a head, because it represents his leadership style, not going anywhere, not there. And so just recently I saw the representative put his own personal logo on a government initiative called Aspire. And they said he does things just for grandstanding and to ensure that he has some social media presence, but without more. And so I am urging the people of constituency number 4 to elect a representative that cares for you, not one who shows you a pretty face and when now have the opportunity to do more, does nothing. We talk about a minister of agriculture. He went overseas, he talked about the 25 by 25 agenda. He hear it, it's so nice. He come here now, ask him to implement it, nothing is being done. We are almost out of 2024 and nothing about the 25 by 25 agenda. He talks about the greenhouses being built in the Newton Gong area. Stop, nothing done. And so we have a headless representative in constituency number 4, one who does nothing but show division. Even recently there was a community event, festival. We call it the Guy Fest. We know it for years as Guy Fest. He come down there after he done come in office or whatever, and he create some community fest or some Sifu up fest, causing division in the constituency for political mileage. Every time he touches an activity, it's for political mileage, not for the people of constituency number 4. There is no genuinity. And so I am urging the people of constituency number 4, whenever that time comes, do not be fooled by his smile, because he's going to come to you grandstanding, making you believe that he's going to do everything for you, but he's going to do nothing. He's doing nothing. He's incapable of leading the constituency. He's incapable of leading his ministry. And who suffers at the end? The persons who have elected him, who depend on him, because he does not care about the people of constituency number 4. We have 2 phone calls, and I want to welcome the Honorable Sean Richards, who is the parliamentary representative for constituency number 5. We have a call? Okay, we lost a call. We encourage that caller to call back. Minister, custom to call your minister. So, we have the call now, so we have the caller on the line. Caller, go ahead.
Hi, good morning, guys. This is Rusty Liebert speaking.
Hi, Rusty.
Good night.
Yes, it's a pleasure to hear the show again for the second time. I think the second time I'm calling and hearing the show. I have a couple of questions and maybe comments to ask. Just 3 things, basically. 1, I've heard you guys discuss all the bad that Labour is doing, everything. I've heard them many times. I would like to know if you guys can present to me some things that you would do. You don't have to worry about Labour stealing your ideas, because they can't even work on theirs. But to me, I'm saying to people, if and when I become Prime Minister, I think it's needed, I'm going to destroy all the buildings that they bring, hospitals, schools, places they're trying to build. I'm going to destroy them and build them for 21st century technology building. That's what I would do. That's just ignorant stuff I'm saying, right? So I want to hear from you guys what new stuff you're going to do in agriculture. Even, let me come to this personal stuff, even for me to make a home from Taiwan to sink it, I have to go to the U.S. because the St. Kitts Nevis post office is not acknowledging Taiwan's postal service to tell them whether to send the letter or not. I've been calling the post office, I've been calling the ministry, nobody wants to answer me on that one. So all my godchildren that I have there who I wanted to send a little shiny gift to, I still can't send a gift. For 4 years I'm here now. Anyway, that's just one point. The other thing I want to mention is, give me one sec, is what is Pam doing?
Hello?
We can, the caller, we can, yeah.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, hello.
Oh, okay, we
You
hear
cut
you.
off for a second.
Yeah, sorry about that. My second point is, what is Pam doing to save its remaining voting population, and what will you do to increase? I know I heard the political chairman, sorry to call you Shani, but Natasha Gray Brown. I know I heard it that in a convention that she wants people to come back home or something to that effect. What is being done to maintain what you have and grow more? Because you really need more. And the last thing I want to talk about is your pop-up meetings. I'm not going to talk about the bad things, because there are a lot of stuff I can talk about that. I just want to say one thing. I hope that there is going to be a pop-up meeting on the 20th of December or the 22nd of December. Why I say that? Because it is my rusty level belief that there will be double salary paid. And you got to come down on the government. Why you tell the people all this time this didn't happen? Don't come in a Douglas trick. Or I spoke to Mr. Lawrence. I tell him, find the money, you can find the money, and you get a double. And he looked like a savior. You have to come out and hit that double salary stuff he is going to pay. There's no if or no doubt. They need the votes, that's why they don't pay. So you have every speaker speaking on something about their double salary when it comes. But the more important thing for me is growing your base and telling the people not just what they're doing bad, but what you, Pam, can do better. Thanks for all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Liebon. We thank you for the question.
Rusty, fine.
Yes, thank you, Rusty. And so I think you've given us really a very, a number of questions, and for sure, I know that the People's Action Movement in the last election, we had our manifesto. In fact, our manifesto gave an outline of some of the things that we want to do. And we talked about creating jobs. We wanted to ensure that hundreds of new micro, small, and medium enterprises were supported. We wanted to expand the private sector to ensure that we have a strong economy. We also had a point that says the war on poverty. We wanted to expand the poverty alleviation program aimed at improving the lives and livelihoods of individuals. We also said caring for the people. We said we wanted to prioritize healthcare and education. We said that we will provide free healthcare, construct a state-of-the-art hospital with modern equipment and medical supplies, and professionalize our healthcare services to meet the international standards. We also said we will also build the human capacity to better prepare our youth for success in the global economy. We also had a national youth agenda, and I remember speaking to a number of young people to ensure that a number of young persons sat on various boards, because we know the importance of youth involvement, not just as a token, but in terms of ensuring that we young people, and I say we too because I'm still 35, have a seat at the table.
No, I'll just touch the issue in terms of what we're doing to hold our base and also to grow, because as Rusty correctly said, we need to grow in order to be able to be successful at the polls. I will do that quickly so that you can introduce Mr. Richards, but
we have another phone call here. So hold the points, because we want to make sure we get all the callers in.
Yeah, hello?
Hi. Good day?
Yeah, how you doing, man? Good evening, man.
Hey, good
Yeah,
evening.
Jimmy, how you doing, man?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good, man. I thought you disappeared on us, man.
No, no, not at all. I am here and here to stay.
Okay, let me get to it, man. Quick question. We know Singapore needs to have diplomatic relations with Taiwan, right?
Yes.
Yes, so we are seeing more Chinese influxing into the Federation. Why aren't we influxing Taiwanese instead? Because of this ongoing saga between Taiwan and China, why are we not really trying to get the Taiwanese in, who we have the diplomatic relation with, to maybe, push the technology forward for us and to bring us up to speed with the agriculture sector? That's one question relating to that. And part B in relationship to that is the Chinese. We've seen the Chinese then take over the economy by opening up these supermarkets and stuff like that, right? What would happen to the Federation if the Chinese decide to move into the banking system? Primarily, if they start maybe cashing checks. In America, they have these check cashing facilities. What happens if the Chinese just merely start opening up some check cashing facilities where they could cash people's checks? And if they decide also to move into the banking system and opening a bank or something like that. And my other question is the clause in the Constitution, what's called the Bryan Clause. I don't know if I have it perfect about that clause or whatever, but what I'm coming to realize is that clause is blocking certain citizens of the Federation, especially the ones in the diaspora, who wants to come back home to run for politics. Instead of that situation being that we can just come home to vote, I'm looking for all citizens to have full rights to enjoy all the rights of all the fruits of their citizenship. You see what I'm saying? Certain segment of the population cannot just be the ones who is going to be putting their names on the ballots all the time. Being the diaspora, we got to be worth more than just being voters. You know what I mean? I want us to also have the right to put our name on the ballot and come back and contribute to our country in that form and fashion. If we're going to participate in the political system, we just can't just participate as being voters. So I'm asking under powers maybe to revisit that clause already. I spoke to the Prime Minister about this. He said he's going to get to it sooner or later, but your leader of the party is in the studio with you tonight?
Yes, she is.
Yes.
Yeah, can she speak to the Bryan Clause by any chance before you guys get off? I'm going to get her take on that.
Yeah. Also,
that's my contribution for the night.
we have the Honorable Sean Richards, who I you were speaking about the dual citizenship, and we had.
Okay, AZARD.
Yes.
AZARD. The reason why I'm focusing on this so much, right, is that a citizen is supposed to be a citizen. There should be no barriers around a citizen. Every citizen is supposed to have equal rights under the law. We're supposed to enjoy all the fruits of our citizenship. It's like playing sports. We got a sport named cricket, right? They have two teams playing cricket, right? And both teams have a wicket keeper, right? This Bryan Clause that they got in the Constitution is really serving no purpose. All it's really doing is just blocking a segment of the citizens who have the right to run as a candidate.
I get your point,
if they remove that, then all citizens will be able to run. And if you appear
Caller, can I ask you a question, please? There isn't.
Yes, go ahead.
There isn't any Bryan Clause in the Constitution. We know what you're referring to, but.
Yeah, you know what I'm referring to.
Yes, but could you be a bit more specific? Because I am not sure it is that specific clause you're speaking to, or if it's the clause.
Yes, the one that that blocked you from that you have to be.
That's dual citizenship. That is different to the clause that you're referring to. The other clause that you're referring to is the one that deals with parentage, and where your parent was born and whether or not you can be a candidate because of where one or both parents were born. So they are actually different, and that is why I've paused to get some clarification from you. You're referring to persons who have dual citizenship and not the so-called Bryan Clause.
Okay, so persons under the Constitution, persons are allowed dual citizenship, right?
Yes.
So let me put it straight to my example. for me, who was born inside the Federation, and I have an American passport. Isn't that dual citizenship?
Yes, it is, and that one I'm
Okay.
quite certainly familiar
So,
with
my
because
second question to you would be, can I come from a run for politics?
no, you can't, unfortunately, and I suppose I more than anyone else on the panel can speak to that because I had to renounce my
Okay,
US
so
citizenship.
how could you allow dual citizenship and I have dual citizenship and I can't come from a run for politics?
I said
Okay,
that I
be?
had to renounce my American citizenship because of that same particular clause.
So that particular clause is what I want to get revisited.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying tonight. I want it to get revisited and be debated
Okay.
because that's all I got to say. And thanks a lot, man.
No
Thanks for the
problem,
explanation.
bro. No problem, bro.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you
a
for the
lot, man.
call.
Have a good holidays, man.
You too. Thank you for the call. So we have
Okay,
here
okay,
a
bye.
girl who wants a revisit of the clause that speaks to dual citizenship. Also, I know before Burl spoke about, and I think he asked about the Chinese and the Taiwanese, yes, and the level of involvement that the Chinese has here within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. But before we go there, so we're going to stick a pin and perhaps the former Deputy Prime Minister could give his view on that. We had Rusty who spoke about what the People's Action Movement is doing at this point in time to ensure that the base remains energized altogether to that nature. So, Natasha?
No, I know a number of persons may be wondering, what we are doing to ensure that we increase our base, and we have been doing a number of administrative changes where we are putting things in place to get in all the constituencies in a more active and robust manner. That has started to take place in some of the constituencies. In fact, we celebrate our 60th anniversary in January, and we will be unleashing a number of events which would see us connecting with the people, which would see us doing more canvassing, which would see candidates being announced, and that way we will have a more personal connection. Now, one of the things that I want to do as the leader is also to highlight a number of key things in terms of the vision for the party and vision for the country. That will be done in a manner whereby it's not just told to the rank and file of the party. It's going to be unleashed in a sequential manner so that persons can start to see what PAM is doing in relation to education, what we want to see in relation to housing. As I had mentioned, a number of things that were in our manifesto for 2022. And so there is going to be one of the events for the 60th anniversary, there's going to be an opportunity for the country on a whole to understand that PAM is not just about criticizing. PAM wants to see the country move on an upward level. And so we are going to be dealing with different sectors in the society so that persons can understand this is PAM's plan. This is what we want to see as it relates to housing, healthcare, education, social security, all the different topical issues that come to the fore so that persons can see that PAM is not just about complaining. We are about creating solutions. We are about empowerment. We are about uplifting our people. And so I know I am not going to sound like Dr. Drew and say soon come, soon come, soon come. It will come very early in 2025 where persons can understand and persons will be more inclined to listen a number of different our shows, the perspectives, whether we're doing pop-up meetings, so that they can get more details because we are about to take St. Kitts and Nevis by storm and improve the livelihoods of all our citizens.
And I want to say too, what we have that the Labour administration or the Labour candidates don't have, I think we have a spirit of caring. Because throughout what they have presented to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, they have shown through their actions that they simply don't care. If they come and tell you they care, I look at their actions and I say, how could you care when you reduce the monies that were given to the most vulnerable after making a campaign on increasing them? How could you care about improving the peace program when you campaign about improving the peace? In fact, we had Dr. Drew on one of the stations talking about how sorry he was that the individuals weren't getting the security in terms of it being paid to social security or the like. And then we had the same Dr. Drew that criticized the program to its fullest when he became Prime Minister and Minister of National Security. So we have a Prime Minister who says one thing while he's campaigning and does another. We have a Labour administration that says one thing while they're campaigning, and when they have the power to make the changes that they spoke that needed to be done, they do nothing. And so that is why I say they simply don't care, because they have the power to make the changes now.
One thing I would like to say, during my constituency visits and even persons meeting me in the street, if they have a double salary, the government ministers should get a double salary because they are already making so much money. And you know what? I agree with them. Let them be, for a better word, Santa Claus this year. If they have a double salary, just let the persons who really need it get a double salary. That's what I would like to ask for them at this time, because people are really feeling it. They're not feeling it because sometimes their monthly salary is one person's annual salary. So I just bring that from what my constituents are asking, and some person in the street when they meet me, they ask me. So that's what I want the administration to know, that persons are thinking this way. So what they will do. So yes. Persons, I hope you realize now I brought your question out there and the government. So I
had a conversation this morning, and one person was saying they hope that this administration don't reintroduce a high percentage for personal income tax. We know that was significantly reduced way down. We don't suffer the average person don't have that personal income tax. But we realize that a lot of things are rising, the cost of living is rising. We realize that the CBI is really on a decline right now. When we look at the number, the revenue collected, it's not like before. And so persons are hoping that tomorrow, whenever the budget debate is, that there is no talk of personal income tax that would affect the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. We already don't have much. Yes. So we have the Honorable Sean Richards here. I don't know if you want to touch maybe briefly on Burr's point as it relates to the Chinese and the Taiwanese having been a member of Parliament for so long and having been a member of Cabinet as well, in terms of his concern there.
Relative to the concern that was expressed by the gentleman about Chinese, persons of Chinese descent being able to come and invest in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, the reality is that persons of different nationalities can invest in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, whether it is Chinese, Americans, persons from other Caribbean islands, Indians, etc. We do allow for that. As a matter of fact, even if you look at the Citizenship by Investment Program, where yes, you have some countries, the citizens of those countries are not allowed for different reasons to be a part of the Citizenship by Investment Program. I think Russians, for example, are not allowed to participate in the program, but a vast majority of persons from different countries are able to participate in that program. And as such, they're able to get citizenship for St. Kitts and Nevis. They're able to come, if they so wish, and invest in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Perhaps the greater concern is to what extent you allow foreign nationals to dominate certain businesses and invest in the Federation. I suppose that is a conversation that we as nationals ought to have. However, the fact is that nationals support these businesses to a large extent. So on one hand, while we might be expressing concerns about it, it is the nationals who go and support these particular businesses for different reasons. I personally can say that there are advantages and there are disadvantages. To some extent, for example, the culture has changed because traditionally on a Sunday, if you were looking for a particular item to purchase, you were not able to do so. Supermarkets in particular, used to close on Sundays. Now the supermarkets which are locally owned, they have been forced to open on Sundays. Are you supposed to compete with the Chinese and some of these other foreigners whose culture is different, and so for them operating on a Sunday is actually the norm. So you can look at it from that perspective. There has been the argument as to support in terms of sponsorship for different events and whether or not it is felt that some of these foreign entities are actually giving back to the different communities, giving back to the people who support their businesses. You also have the argument being made in terms of some of the jobs and the persons who are taking these jobs, and that these are jobs which locals are very much capable of doing, but yet you see foreigners taking up these particular jobs. So some of it is you would need government regulations or the enforcement of government regulations, because you do have policies in place in terms of persons who are not quittitians and divisions, and how you are able to hire those particular persons, especially if they require a work permit to be able to perform any sort of labor here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. To go to the other issue of the dual citizenship, we are 41 years old in terms of being an independent nation, and I certainly believe that the Constitution needs to be relooked after 41 years to determine what has served us well, because some of the clauses that were in the Constitution back then in 1983, the reality is that the thinking has changed and times have changed, and we really need to have some sort of perhaps a referendum to determine what changes we need to make to the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis. It's not just the particular dual citizenship clause, but there are other clauses within the Constitution that persons have concerns about. As I indicated to the caller, I myself had to give up my U.S. citizenship in order to continue being a candidate and to be elected. And he made the point that the very same persons who have dual citizenship can come home and vote. But you can't hold political office. Election after election, you have these persons, flights being paid for them to actually come home and vote, but for them to hold elected office, they are not able to do so. Now, one might question allegiance and really who are you? Who do you hold allegiance to? And I don't think that because one has dual citizenship that particular individual cannot effectively serve the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. It is the very same persons that you say they ought to come home and invest in the Federation, come home, give back your expertise that you have gained out there to the land of your birth. Come and open businesses, help us to grow the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. But yet we put a limit as to what office these persons can serve in.
Mm-hmm. And can I just say something just came to mind. Even with addressing this problem, certain things that could be done now. For example, we have consulate and embassies. If they are our people and they are highly skilled, highly educated and so forth, and even have their thing, why can't we, since they cannot be a member of minister of government or run member of parliament, why not let them get these jobs, as opposed to, because you will know over the years we have persons who not even have any link into St. Kitts and Nevis, but doing functions or job for the Federation out there. So I will support, for the time being, until the Constitution is changed, to make sure our people, where they're in St. Kitts and Nevis or overseas, get the opportunity to contribute to our country. And that could just be one way. I hope the person, and plus we are trying to get into office and we want the support, so that will be something that we could discuss, and to make sure that they contribute at any high level. Even diplomats, we have diplomats, so these are some areas that we could be thinking. So I hope the persons in the diaspora who are actually our citizens, but just have citizenship of another country, could look at as well. And I hope that we here who are aspiring to be the next government, we could think about that, and hope the present government, until the time comes, could think about that, because we're asking those persons to contribute in many ways. So why not let them get the opportunity to represent us? Because if we could give persons who have no linkage to our country that opportunity, I would support and suggest that those persons get the opportunity, as long as they're qualified and capable to do those kind of things.
On the issue of the double salary and the budget tomorrow, we have seen over the years the presentation by Miss Dr. Richards. He is very good when it comes to budget presentations. He goes through it with a fine-tooth comb, and we are looking forward to his usual presentation during the course of this week. And so, if it is Dr. Drew gives a double salary, as was indicated, it will be good for the economy. It will be good for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I'm quite certain that Dr. Richards will be able to address some of the challenges that are outlined in the budget. And if it is, we need to give him the necessary support to highlight anything, we will do that during the course of the week. And we don't necessarily have to have a pop-up, but the pop-up is a good suggestion. But it takes a number of things to put a pop-up in place. But we will be listening keenly, Rusty. We will be paying attention to what has been said, what will be offered, because everybody will be listening on Monday to see what is really coming forward for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I would suggest what Mr. Pell said. Dr. Drew, if you're giving a double, don't take none. You and your team, don't take none. You had enough in terms of your increase over the year so that you're in a good position to enjoy your Christmas without the double. Give it to the hard-working civil servants.
Mm-hmm. And when we look at Dr. Richards, you want to say something?
Not necessarily on the double salary. I myself await the budget presentation tomorrow to hear what it is that this administration will put in place to stimulate the economy, because the reality is that the vast majority of the citizens are suffering. You hear it every day in every single constituency. Paying a double salary is one thing, but how do you stimulate the economy for the rest of the year so that you don't have come February, March, April, when the double has been spent because persons have so many outstanding debts that they are basically back in the very same situation in terms of not being able to meet ends meet. How do you reduce the cost of living for persons? How do you ensure that many of these projects that are soon to come actually begin so that persons are able to get jobs and you have the spin-off effect of those particular jobs in the economy, and persons begin to feel better about their ability to fend for themselves and to fend for their family members. Those persons who are most vulnerable, the unemployed, the senior citizens, children, what do you do to ensure that they're able to enjoy a better standard of living in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis? While persons, yes, are looking forward to some sort of payment, it goes beyond the month of December. We need jobs. We need economic policies that are going to move the country forward. And so that is what I am looking forward to most. How do you ensure that we go back to building a thriving economy? How do you go back to ensure that in terms of economic growth, St. Kitts and Nevis is moving forward? The last thing I would go back to is the whole issue of dual citizenship, because it has crossed my mind that even prior to, yes, the Constitution speaks to it, but prior to myself and Lindsey Grant, you had a number of persons who served in the Parliament with dual citizenship. However, I guess it became a case where persons were afraid of Sean and Lindsay being elected, and so that particular clause in the Constitution was enforced. One can argue as to whether or not those persons who served previously with dual citizenship, whether or not they did an effective job. And if you're going to make the argument that they did an effective job, then it basically says to me that one can have dual citizenship and still serve the Federation and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to the best of their ability. Since we're here and we're having that particular discussion, someone from in the U.S. messaged me and said that in terms of the U.S. Senate and the U.S. Congress, you can serve with dual citizenship. It is only the post of president that you're barred from having dual citizenship and being able to serve in.
Yes, and so I did promise persons, and we're going to get back to the budget debate. Well, not the budget discussion and what would be said, but it's Calypso time. It's time where we have the carnival again. And just recently, we had a former candidate in the person of Mr. Blanchett. He sang Calypso. He was at the elimination and he was asking the question, where is Pam?
Pamela.
Where is Pamela? Yes. And so the inference was, where is Pam? And I could tell Mr. Blanchard that Pam is alive and well. Pam is in the studio this evening. Pam is outside as well. We are represented by thousands of individuals. And someone sent me a song recently telling me or expressing where Pam is. And so I have decided to play it this evening. We're going to take a short break. And while we take that short break, I want persons to listen to the song that was sent to me in relation to Where is Pamela, a.k.a. Where is Pam. Yeah, so it's the Come See Me, the middle one.
You caught?
No.
Yes. Yes. So we're going to have the DJ, the technical support, play that song. I know persons have been asking about the song because we're going to be released. Well, we already released one in Menace to Society. That's the Labour Party. And of course now the response to Mr. Blanchett's Calypso that was sang not too long ago.
Where the labor Jezebel? You want the bamba? You want to chill with the big boys? Blanche say he looking for
Back for those persons who are looking for the People's Action Movement. In fact, the People's Action Movement is alive and well and growing daily from strength to strength. Yes.
Well, I must then say that seems as if it's this song for vote match. So the persons who are looking for action in the carnival, you have a nice beat.
Yes. If you're looking for Pam, Pam is here and here to stay. And so we have been talking about some of the issues, and one of the issues that is there to me, and I know I speak about it a lot, is the housing, because the People's Action Movement in its manifesto during the last election campaign, we spoke about in providing persons with affordable homes and providing individuals with these homes. Under the team Unity, a number of homes were built, and we are now in a situation where the Labour Party has promised these construction of homes, and to date, that promise has not been fulfilled, even in the slightest. And yes, they are not fulfilling their promise, but it's the people of St. Kitts and Nevis that suffer, because we have a lot of young persons who are dependent for this assistance. The NHC was created, established for persons who are vulnerable and who need assistance. And so if government isn't doing what it ought to do, ensuring that persons are provided with the necessary assistance for homes, then we have a lot of young people out there, persons who are now disadvantaged. And although Dr. Drew and Jeffrey and the Labour administration and party ministers can speak about the smart houses that never come, it's the people that suffer at the end.
Let me ask a question, because the process of getting the house, is it different where the persons must go to the bank now before they get the house? Because somebody was saying that to me, so I don't know if that's another topic we could talk about, where if these housing projects, program is there to help persons who are less fortunate, persons who, let's say, need a home but the finance is just not there, at how it used to be where government build them and they distribute them. Is that something that could affect the actual persons who really want them?
Well, when we look at NHC is to provide persons who would not normally be bankable. And so to ask persons to go through a procedure where they have to go through the bank and be termed as bankable, to me is a slap in the face, and it is a whole contradiction of what NHC is when it was created. And so again, it's an unfortunate situation. It's as though the people don't matter to them. It's as though those persons who are less fortunate don't matter to them, because they have not been in the place of persons who are vulnerable to feel what those persons are feeling.
I will say this. They were in the position to feel it, but they're no longer, so they don't really care.
I don't even think that while they were out of office, they were in a position to actually feel how the less fortunate and vulnerable feel now.
So what I would like to now say to the electorate, PAM is a caring government, and this is the time now to start thinking of ensuring that you give the PAM party the support when the next election comes. Because these are matters that are dear to us. We have to care for our persons, and if you're pushed out a situation where you could have get a home easier but still pay, and now that gone to a higher level there in the first place, that's why you went to the government to get a house, because you cannot go to the bank and get a loan, then something is wrong.
It's a little bit more than that, because if you were to have 200 homes per year, because they were saying 6, but 200 homes, you know what that can do for the economy? The small shops, the food vendors, the suppliers of TDC, the phosphorus, the Builders Paradise, in terms of the electricians, the plumbers, that could also increase the value of the homes of already existing homeowners. You know what that could have done for the economy? Imagine you have a steel bender being able to earn, let's say, $800 to $1,000 per week. He can now give his children something. He can pay on his car. He can pay his electricity bill. So basically what they have done is raise the expectation of the service providers, of the potential homeowners, because here you may have somebody thinking, okay, I may be qualified to get one of these homes, and so I am going to be able to move out of the slums that I'm in. I'm squinged up in a one-room house with 3 children. They have basically shattered the dreams, hopes, and expectation of a whole economy. And so it's not so much so as, the bankable, that's one point. But, I mean, it has left our people not without the confidence. They don't trust things that people are saying anymore, because, as I said before, no one came back. Neither Dr. Hanley, Prime Minister Drew, no one came back and said, this is what is happening. We can no longer build 600 per year, but we will give 200 per year, or even 50. And so persons now will understand. As I would mention on Friday, one of my constituents was living at Corner House, where they broke down those houses. They were paying peppercorn rent, less than $100 a month. And the expectation was that they're going to be put in temporary accommodation so that they can build these new houses. And they just clean off the land maybe about 2-3 weeks ago. And NHC has told them that they will no longer be paying the rent from January. And the current rent for some of these people are $2,500. Where are they going to find that money? Where are they going to find a place to put their children to live in January when the government has failed? And the government, who is supposed to help to make life easier. I'm not saying that they're going to have all the solutions, but they're actually making life harder day by day. And that is something that we just cannot ignore.
And that is why I say they simply don't care, because they are in a position to make people's lives better. And instead of doing just that, it's as though they do not care, and so they're just more concerned.
I was just about to say that, because
let us be honest, they are incompetent.
Yes.
Totally incompetent. After 2 years, this is more than don't care.
Yes.
This is about an incompetent government. Persons who simply cannot get things done. And as I've said, they're not just incompetent, but they have also hired advisors who are equally or even more incompetent than they are. And so you have the blind leading the blind. You have taken an economy which was thriving, and you have destroyed that economy. Basically, everything that this government has touched, it has managed to mash it up. They're simply incompetent. And no one is taking the time to learn, because every second they are on a plane, not sitting down and trying their very best to determine how to make life better for the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. It is one thing to go on a political platform and to basically just spew ideas, but it is a different thing to be able to deliver on those ideas. And thus far, this government has not been able to deliver anything of value to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
And then you have a junior minister or senator who has no children, at least from my records, asking people to get more children. What are we going to feed these children? Where are we going to put them to live? Are we going to let them continue to just delve into poverty? We are going to create a space for people to get poorer. I honestly really believe that from elected representatives to senators, advisors, everybody just taking us for a fool, and they're now displaying their incompetence in such a manner that it can't hide no more. Their own supporters have lost confidence in them. High-ranking labor activists are asking, what is happening? What are they doing? They're causing the country too much problems.
And I would like to remind them again, and I will not stop saying it until it happens. Vote for the People's Action Movement. That is the answer to what we are having. Because you know what? I would like someone as well with the water. The water is a problem to me as well, because a lot of my villages in my constituents having water problem, and they shouldn't have, because we're right under the mountain. And for the life of me, I can't understand. Every time, if you do geography and these sciences, you would realize every time you see a rolling cloud, you're talking water. And so I can't understand why we have this big water problem. I would like someone, because I did some research, but I want someone to come and tell us what are the advantages and disadvantages of the desal water. That is what I want to find out, because you have.
So clearly there is some concern, and as Dr. Richards indicate, that this administration is incompetent, and it is clear that the fact that they state things that are happening, they come up with big ideas. Sometimes you wonder if someone whispers it to them, and you sometimes you have a test, and you write down the answer or what the answer is supposed to be. Let's say it's maths, but you ain't work out how you get the answer. So they copy perhaps from different places and persons, but they ain't know how to work it out to get to the answer.
So play with the lives of the people of this federation.
Clearly that is what they are doing, and I again don't care about playing with the lives of persons, because they can't do any better.
One of the things that they promised is that in the first 100 days there will be a reduction of VAT. We are now in 2.5 years into their term, and we haven't seen a reduction in VAT. What we had on Friday was a reduced VAT day. And if that was not a revelation for them as to how things are in the economy and how things are in the country, then they really need to go back and get new advisors. They really need to maybe stay on island for at least January, the month of January, to understand, because January is a hard month for a lot of persons. They need to stay on island and see what is happening. Walk a mile in the shoes of an average citizen. Go into the supermarket and stand up behind somebody and see what they have to pay for and what they can't pay for. Offer to pay for their bill for them. Look at how a mother has to travel now from Sandy Point to Bastia. Yes, I said Bastia, Dr. Richards.
Very good.
And how much money that mother has to include in her budget every week. An additional $40 just for her alone. Imagine, she has 2 children. Maybe the father may not be as consistent with maintenance, and so that mother who's working for minimum wage has to struggle, has to find an avenue to be able to assist her and her children to move from point A to point B. Sit and understand what that person is feeling. I mean, some persons who have a higher salary, they can't even do a budget because of fear. When they work out what their $5,000 per month can do for them, no. They are fearful
for those persons who
of
are
the
looking for the
bottom
movement,
figure.
The
They are fearful in terms of what they will see, because although we normally speak of those minimum wage earners, some of the middle income earners or high income earners, they are feeling it too. They are feeling it too. When they have to insure their homes and their vehicles, insurance premiums gone up. When they have to go to the food gone up for everybody. They don't say, well, okay, persons within this category are going to pay $1 less today. It's across the board. And so they have to understand, if they walk a mile in the shoes of our citizens, they will be a little bit more compassionate, and they will learn how to get rid of their incompetence.
Dr. Richards, anything you want to add on that?
Not necessarily. What I'm here thinking is the whole discussion that was had some time back, indicating that because persons received an 8% increase in salary, that they have basically received a double salary. If you take someone who's working for government who's making, let's say, $3,000 per month, it means that that person would have received an additional $240 per month. If you take $240 per month, multiply it by 12, that's $2,880. So it's still less than $3,000 if one wants to make the argument that that person has received a double salary. The bigger point that I want to make, though, is that the salary for the Prime Minister before he got his increase was $11,000, and that is without allowances. That's just the base salary without allowances, because if you add allowances to it, it was over $15,000 or something thereabout per month. $11,000, and the increase that he got on the base salary is about $4,000 a month. Follow me. So it means in 1 month, 4,000, in 2 months, 8,000, in 3 months, how much that?
12,000.
That's more than 11,000. So that alone is one extra salary. You take the next 3 months, and next 12,000. So 2 times again, okay? You take the next 3 months, and next 12,000. And you take the last 3 months, that's the next $12,000. So that in terms of the Prime Minister himself, his salary would have quadrupled during the course of the year. When you are sitting down with persons and having a discussion about somebody getting an 8% increase, and the 8% increase is equivalent to a double salary. It is less than a double salary, but in terms of what he got, it's far more than a double, because you got like 4 extra salaries alone during the course of the year. And then when you take the fact that you have now, for some persons who have to pay a bus fee, you have to pay an additional $10 per week, an additional $40 per month. If you subtract that from it, that's $240 left there. You have now come and said to small businesses and big businesses that you have a fuel surcharge. And that has nothing to do with the fact that prices had already been on the increase, that the cost of living has already been on the increase. But you now going to put a fuel surcharge, and what is going to happen is businesses are not going to absorb that additional increase in electricity. You couple that with the fact that you also increase minimum wage, and you're happy, yes, that persons have received an increase in the minimum wage. But the fact is it is also an additional cost to business. And businesses are not going to absorb these additional increases in expenses. They're going to find some way of recouping those additional increase in expenses. And the easiest way to do it is either you're going to cut staff, cut hours, or you're going to terminate, or you're going to increase the cost of your goods and services. So no matter how you twist it and turn it, the consumers at the end of the day will pay the price. If the consumers don't pay it, then workers might be affected as a result of it. The economy is sluggish. Nothing is happening in the economy so that persons have any additional spending power. And you hear it every day from persons. You go Port Zante, the business persons out there complaining about it. You walk 4th Street, the same thing. But you go into the different communities in Old Road, halfway to Middle Island. You challenge us, you go up Buckley's, go Cayon, go McKnight, wherever you go in this country, Newton Ground, St. Paul, Sandy Point. Persons are complaining that it is the worst they have seen the country in quite a number of years. Recently, I saw a young man walking down Crabbill, and he had his, what we call joggers in his hand. And I asked him, why you have them in your hand? He said, boy, I think so hard. You see here is a nail I put in here to try keep it together because I cannot afford to buy a new pair. And that is the reality, the level as to how people are living in this country. They can't make ends meet. I was doing a walkthrough in Sandy Point a few weeks ago, and a parent said to me that it is only one short and one skirt she has for her daughter to go to school because she simply cannot afford to buy any more. That's the reality of how people are living in this country. And so you wonder, if the ministers of government, if they're in touch with reality, do they speak to people? Do they hear the suffering from people? A lot of the young men were promised jobs, and they felt genuinely that they were going to receive jobs under this new administration. the jobs have not been forthcoming. And so, people still out there sitting down on the street, sitting down on the corner, waiting, hoping for something better, hoping for a new reality in this country. The government has become the most unpopular government I have ever seen in such a short period of time. People are having remorse. And it's not just persons who supported PAM, persons who supported NRP, CCM, or PLP. You have saying this. Go and speak to people that voted for the Labour Party. Young men, young women, old women telling you they can't believe that this is what they supported. This is what they voted for. They will want an election to come in this country to get rid of them. Because things are just genuinely hard in the country. Everybody's feeling the squeeze.
Everybody, I mean, every week when I go house to house, that is the general trend. That is coming from all the homeowners, the constituents, persons who are, have relocated. It's just, everyone is just saying the same thing. I mean, one self-employed individual is into the food business. He said, Miss Gray, I used to have to carry home my food, and I don't like the fact that I have to serve people food from the day before, so he end up wasting and give it to one or two people. And now I've cut down the amount of lunches I cook. I do maybe 12 chicken and 5 fish, because it's either I'm going to just close or just supply persons a limited amount of food, because people are not spending they don't have it to spend. So people are not spending like before, and so sometimes that person would have to put up a notice to say we are closed today. We are closed today because it costs more to stay open, and so we are closed today because the economy has reached a state where people just start to ponder, and sometimes in their quiet moments their minds start to stray in terms of, how am I going to make ends meet? What can I do to be able to make things a little bit more viable for me, because the government is not helping me? I need to have a second job. I probably need to go to Nevis. I probably need to move out of St. Kitts Nevis. This is the kind of thing that persons are having to deal with on a daily basis, and it's causing stress.
And you know what? This affects our economy, because it boils down to an economic situation. Because if there's no money to spend, the economy just flat. Mm-hmm. And then what happened? We're going to affect the engine of government, because the government wouldn't receive what it's supposed to receive. So it's a real serious thing we're dealing with here. And I'm not an economist. I study some economics, but I sure some advisors for the government should know about economics. And we have a lot of economists around the place, should be able to let them know, hey, things have to be done. One of the things I heard them talk about is maybe water. I'm not sure if we may get an increase in water. And one of the comments was made by the government minister. I can't recall if it was the prime minister. It is the water in St. Kitts is the cheapest show the OECS, but we should glad it is cheapest. You're going to increase it. We can't be racing to make things expensive. We have to. The duty of the government is to make things affordable for its people.
But I hope they don't increase it when it goes. In the case of Sandy Point, it's been going every night
single night
for
since
9
March.
months. A whole child could have born within that 9 months. Mm-hmm. For some people, it come up brown like coffee. So increase it for what?
An increase in payment is an expected increase in service, better service. You don't increase for less.
A young person said to me yesterday that the country needs to open up. I said, what do you mean by the country needs to open up? They said, well, this almost feel like COVID, and even under COVID, I felt better. The person said the country needs to open up. And that for me, it just made me think about so many different things, because if somebody's saying to you the country needs to open up, and so you begin to reflect on COVID and what happened during COVID, and certainly, no one felt good being locked down, but it crossed my mind too that one of the arguments that the Prime Minister made is that he had to open up the country as soon as possible, right away, for economic reasons. And here you had someone saying to me, the country needs to open up. He said it means you have opened up the country, but persons are still in a dire state economically. And so you have to ask the question, well, what is it that is happening? Under who is it happening why the country is in such a bad state of affairs? And you also get the argument that we need to diversify the economy. I've been looking, and I'm still waiting to see where is that major thrust in terms of the diversification of the economy. Because I don't see anything else being done differently, which says to me that there is this serious targeted approach towards ensuring that the economy is diversified. You hear about building a sustainable state and becoming the smallest island sustainable state within the world. And again, it's as if you go to some meeting somewhere and you hear these buzzwords
And you carry it.
And you bring it to 'em.
and you just bring it back. You have nothing else to bring back except these buzzwords that you hear.
Let's hype up the people.
Let's hype them up. We hear
No.
it overseas. We're going to bring it back home like 25
Sustainable
by 25.
state,
like
smart
that.
hospital and smart this and everything that you go out there and you hear. But you also have to be realistic, and there's nothing wrong in terms of having that mindset in terms of making the island sustainable. There is nothing wrong with it. But you also have to be realistic in terms of where you are right now, what it is going to require to make St. Kitts Nevis sustainable, and let persons know that while it is that we are working towards this, this is where we are. And in terms of a feasible estimate to get there, this is when we expect to get there, and these are some of the things that we need to accomplish in order to get there. I just come and tell people we're making it a sustainable state, and you don't see anything happening and nothing else.
There's
Just
no,
talk.
There's no mapping, as so to speak.
But you see, they talk and they don't talk the right things, because all of the challenges that they face in the different ministries is some sort of secrecy. So people always have to ask, what is happening? They dodge the questions from the journalists. They don't come back to the people. And that is why they are in this, position where they're so unpopular, because people don't trust their word anymore. And when all else failed, let's blame the previous administration. Let's blame them. Man, 2.5 years is still blaming the previous administration. Yes, it's good to know your past, but come on. You campaigned on certain things. Show people that you're worth your salt. Show them that this is what we have accomplished. I mean, every time the Prime Minister comes on the radio, he talks about reset. Right now, the country wants a whole reset. We will need to pull out the plug and start again, because right now it feels like we're on life support.
And I think this is where Pam comes in.
Country needs a new prime minister. Full stop.
In fact, I had a photo, and I put it on the Facebook, whereby the shirt was advertising that all the country is looking for Christmas is a new prime minister. The person was saying, all I want for Christmas is a new prime minister. Because clearly, the prime minister that we have now cannot do. And I there was a Labour supporter who came on the post and said, oh, he was duly elected, and you should know that it's not like that. And I said, if you are so bothered by a post like that, of course he was duly elected in 2022. But if he rings the bell now, we could almost assure you that he will not be successful. He has reached a level of unpopularity in such a short time that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis simply wants time for the election to come to get rid of him and his ministers. I do house to house, when you talk to the people in the constituency, all they asking is when the next election is. I said, well, it's constitutionally due in 2027. And they said to me, we got to wait so long?
You have to give people some hope. I mean, the People's Action Movement, we try to show our little way of caring for the persons, but we are not in a position to put certain policies in place. But where we can help, we will help. We made sure when the increase in bus fares, we showed compassion to the commuters and by extension the bus drivers. We are having next week, we are having an event, and we are giving away slightly used items and new items to some of our persons within the community who may have challenges. And so we try as much as possible to show that we are connected. When we can give out school supplies, we do that. Christmas gifts, I mean, every child loves a toy. And some parents honestly can't afford to buy their child, not even one of them dollies with the fake hair that you just pull off and put on, that even the bald head dollies, which might be less expensive. And so throughout the constituencies, we are going to try to bring a smile on the majority of the children in the federation, because we are about people, we are about uplifting our people, we are about caring. We don't want our people to have a sad Christmas. I mean, some persons right now are going through a terrible time. We've lost in the past week or so 7 persons to traffic accidents. Some of these families have to find money to bury their family members. Some honestly do not have it. And so there's further financial burden. You've lost your family member. That's a hard and tough thing. But to find an additional maybe $17,000 to be able, you're not going to have a good Christmas, clearly, but to be able to fork up $15,000 to $17,000 for a casket, there are other things, the leaflets, and if the person, they might need clothing and different things, and so one just has to wonder what some people are really going to do come January, because it's going to be one of the hardest Januaries for our federation, and we are not seeing any hope on the horizon with this administration. We are not seeing it, and persons just feel hopeless. But the People's Action Movement is going to continue to champion your cause. Every time we can call out this administration, we will. When there are solutions, we will either do them or we will indicate what our alternative is, because our federation cannot continue like this.
And it's in a sad state. I'm glad you mentioned, putting the smile on the faces of children, because just today, myself and the constituency 4 team, we were in constituency number 4 giving out goodie bags and toys to children under the age of 7. And you see the excitement on their faces, and at the end of the day, you feel so overwhelmed that you have touched a life and you have contributed in such a way. And it makes me at least feel, how much more you could give if given an opportunity to serve the people and the constituents in the manner of a representative, because you have the resources of the state. You sit in a room with other members and you speak about pushing people forward using the resources of the state. And it's sad to believe, it's sad to think that we have an administration that is a youthful one, in the sense that it was like young people now, energy, and it's very disappointing. Rather than looking out for the generation to come and the present generation, it seems as though they don't care, they're incompetent, and they're in no hurry to leave. Because the best thing to do is to ring the bell and let the people decide whether or not that if they want them now.
And one thing I would like to say, I know Dr. Richards will do a good job tomorrow in Parliament, but it's also one.
I'm not speaking tomorrow. Tomorrow is only the Prime Minister will present his budget address, and the debate begins the following day, on Tuesday.
When you give your speech, but I just want to give you some support here, so you could know you have the entire party behind you, the political leader and everyone, is that I hope they do not introduce any taxes, because I don't think we could take it. and just make this just what we're gonna do to generate funds for the country, money for the country, and no taxes because the people cannot take no more. So with that said, I think that should be enough to let the government know no new taxes. No new taxes. What I would say is to try to reduce spending because I think that's one of the problems right now. The government is spending too much and not receiving. So let us get that sorted out because the people, even though the person want to do things, because of the situation, it's hard. So I just want to let that be my support to you.
And clearly, we have a phone call. We have a call on the line. Caller, you're live on Unfiltered. Could barely hear the caller. If the caller is speaking. Caller, you there?
I'm sorry, Mr. Gums. I
Okay.
had to get off my Bluetooth.
Oh,
Good evening to you and your guests. How are you?
good evening.
Good evening.
Good.
Mr. Gums, I'm listening to the program,
Yes.
and I'm listening to your guests as they speak about the things that are happening, and I'm thinking about the alternative to the government. And I'm sure that the People's Action Movement would like to be the replacement.
Yes.
But something I'm thinking of, I'm looking at you and looking at your leader. I am sure that she's going to be the person that will be running against Mr. Hanley. Am I correct?
That is what is now the expectation that she would run against
Okay.
Dr. Hanley.
And I believe that Mr. Pell would return as the opponent against Dr. Harris. I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's so, and let me continue in that same vein. There is a bit of uncertainty about number 5. Is Mr. Richards is going to run, and you, Mr. Gums. There are a lot of people believe that you are going to be this person, and then there are other slots to be filled. My question is, why not just come out and put the candidates out there so the people consider the alternative?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we are talking about what is happening with the government, but then there's still uncertainty here.
Yes.
Put the candidates out there and let the people know and get acquainted. Get your constituency offices opened.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of this show. You open it when election is about to come, and then it's closed. Here in the United States, all of these congressmen and councilmen, the office is always open. So you can reach out to the candidate. I know because of, probably you have to pay a staff or something, but I mean, you're looking and you're watching and you're hearing all this program, and yet you still don't know. You still don't know who is going to be and when they are going to be announced. And I think that's the disadvantage that the people have. And I saw the same, and the party is suffering. The People's Action Movement, I think they have been doing an injustice, to the party. You're setting back the party. So I think you guys need to understand that, because I'm a lot confused. I mean, if you are there and you're working and you're trying and you're saying and you're meeting the people, give the people an idea where this thing is going to go, and from there they can start choosing which side they're going to take. And it would help you guys a lot. I hope that for the new year, that these things will start shaping up And Mr. Gums, I hope all the best for you on this show, and wish and hope that you'll be placed in the position that you want to be. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
I am grateful for that suggestion by the caller. I'm not sure if you would have heard earlier when I did indicate in 2025 we're going to be unveiling some of our candidates and confirming who will be in the different constituencies. It's a process, and I hear you. I think it is imperative that persons understand who we are putting up for elections and who we are asking persons to vote for. We're not going to wait until an election is announced, and so very soon that indication will be given to the public, but we want to make sure that we are making the best decision, not just for the party, but for the country, because this is not just about Pam. It is about the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And so Dr. Richards and Mr. Pell, they both ran last election. Dr. Richards was the only successful candidate in the 2022 election. And so we are going to make sure that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis gets the best candidate, the best alternatives to the Labour administration, and hopefully it wouldn't be so much so so much of a suspense to the people, and we will do that soonest. So just give us a little time. That will be announced shortly. We are going through different constituencies, and we'll make sure that the people have an alternative to replace the Labour candidates in the different constituencies. So just give us some time. And even if Mr. Pell is not willing, and I know he has indicated he is willing, I can see from what he has been doing, he is a dedicated person to the constituents of number 7. AZARD has been out there, and so he's also dedicated to the people of constituency number 4. And we know from since 2004 and even before, Dr. Richards has proven that he has the best interest of the people of not just constituency number 5, but the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. So we are here working for the people. So don't be dismayed. We are not going to do the party any service. We want to make sure that we put the country in the best position.
Mm-hmm. And I know that, thank you, political leader. I know that, and thank you, the caller as well. I know that persons during the halftime, I got so many messages saying that they were unable to hear this song and they really want to hear this song. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask, we're going to conclude. I'm going to ask persons if they have any final words. Yes, Dr. Richards, any final words, and then we will exit on the song. So persons don't leave. We're going to hear the song. Yes. So we're going to go with Mr. Pell.
Yes, I'd just like to say to the persons, we recognize what is happening and not happening in this country and with the government. The action is the People's Action Movement. And you hear the political leader, we're going to put the candidates in place. So even without that, still think about giving the People's Action Movement your vote. Because we are going to make St. Kitts and Nevis prosperous again. And only one way we could do that is getting your vote. And we need the vote of every single person and our support, financially and otherwise, to the People's Action Movement. So I just want to say, God bless St. Kitts and Nevis. God bless Constituency 7. Peace to you all.
Dr. Richards?
In closing, I want to take the opportunity to wish persons the very best for the Christmas and Carnival season. I also extend condolences to all of the different families who have had deaths recently. Just this morning I gathered that the young guy from Nevis who had that incident at sea, that he also passed. after fighting for over 7 months for his life. I extend the condolences also to that family. We will keep all of the families in our prayers. We are at the end of 2024. We're approaching 2025. Persons tend to look at a new year as one which brings new opportunities, which brings renewed hope. Persons feel that going into a new year, of course, they want to see something better than they would have experienced during the previous year. That is indeed the case for the vast majority of Kittitians and Divisions who are looking for something better, for an improved standard of living, for opportunities to, whether it is open businesses, opportunities to be able to have a job, opportunities to simply feel better about themselves. And that is what I want to implore this administration to bring some relief to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Try and make 2025 a better year for the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis than you would have done in 2023 and in 2024. I know it's a hard task for you to do because you have demonstrated through your incompetency that you really aren't capable. But try. At least persons would recognize that you made some effort to ensure that they have a better 2025. Thank you.
Political leader of the People's Action Movement.
Again, I want to thank you, Azard, for inviting us to your show. It has been a pleasure. I understand that, we've been going through 2.5 years of labor pain. And as Dr. Richards would have indicated, if you take even effort to helping to bring some relief to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, they may get a tap on the back. But it seems as if that has not been concerning for them. And we really want to echo in a year of hope, a year of prosperity. And we are, as a People's Action Movement, we will continue to do what we can on behalf of the people. The people has always been our motivation, and we will continue to do what we can to uplift you. I would also like to say to all those listening, have a safe and happy Carnival. Have a Merry Christmas, and don't forget that Jesus is the reason for the season. So let us continue to love one another, be there for one another, and hopefully in 2025 we will see better things coming out of this government. And even if we don't see that, we are going to make sure that we keep their feet to the fire, because the people of St. Kitts and Nevis matter most to us. Thank you.
Thank you, political leader. As the host, I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here this evening. It has been a very wonderful conversation. I know the people of St. Kitts and Nevis are grateful to hear your voices. Well, our voices, as we continue to do what we can to ensure that St. Kitts and Nevis is a better place. I want to assure persons that in constituency number 4, as I said before earlier, today we had our Santacade, and as a person who is interested in being selected as the candidate for the People's Action Movement in number 4, I could assure you that even in 2025, I am putting my mind to the task to make sure that everything goes well. I am now looking at a message that says, water gone since 1 p.m. Things aren't going well. And so that has been the chorus for the year. Things aren't going well. And we here in St. Kitts and Nevis wish for better. We have an administration that do not care. They are incompetent. And we know from where we sit, especially where I sit, sometimes it's very unfortunate, it's sad, because those who have the authority and power to do something do nothing. And we are just hoping that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis recognize that this administration is incompetent and does not care. I want to say congratulations to the monarchs coming up from constituency number 4. You had the Sun Monarch competition yesterday. Mr. Samuel winning the section, and of course Raskelly winning the group. And so I want to say congratulations to them for a job well done. Of course, Constituency 4 continues to show that we are talented people. And I give my condolences to the families, as Dr. Richards indicated. We had persons who lost family members. The accident happened last week. It happened in my constituency. We had members of my constituency who lost family members. I spoke to them and you could feel the pain in their hearts. And it's a real sad situation. And so I continue to pray for those families who have lost a loved one by those tragic means. Is real sad. It's real sad. And I urge persons to be safe, drive safely. Don't be in a rush to get to a destination that you might never reach because of negligence. And so ensure that you do what you have to do to remain safe. If persons see a driver or you're in a vehicle and it's going too fast, don't be afraid to stop the vehicle and say, I'm going to come out. Because that might be the moment that you save your life. I also want to say that, as everyone has said, it's the Calypso season, and I know persons are waiting for the comeback. And so the People's Action Movement did make a comeback. The song was sent to me, and by popular demand, we're going to play it. I do apologize for those persons who did not hear it during the time that it was played during the halftime, technical issues, and we're going to play it now. And so that's going to be our outro. Of course, Blanchett, who is the permanent secretary now, and for permanent secretary but was once a candidate for the People's Action Movement, sang a song during this season asking where Pamela, inferring that Pam has gone somewhere, cannot be found. But this person, whoever composed the song, has assured Mr. Blanchett that Pam is here and here to stay. So if he's looking for Pam or anyone is looking for Pam, listen to this song.
You want the mama? You want to chill with the big boys? Blanchett say he looking for Pamela. Swear up and down that Pam dead for sure. So we jump ship and join the same labor. Who done kicking through the door? Boy, you nothing but a political football. Drunk on labor, red Kool-Aid and wine. Labor little errand boy, labor little wind-up toy. Till they turn on you behind. Glenn boy, you say you looking for Pam. I find that mighty strange and suspicious. For when hard life had you by your color, you didn't know exactly where to find us. Boy, Pam ain't gone no way. We here to stay, we have plenty work to do. Glen boy Pam have to save the nation from vampires, lost souls and traitors like you. For 30 pieces of silver, this Judah selling out his soul. Membership in the labor posse, well that's the ultimate goal. He's singing about camel and chicken, but he's labor donkey for sure. They gon' ride him, then put him out to pasture when they can't ride him anymore. So keep looking for Pam Blanchett, you most certainly gon' need us again. For all skin teeth, they love you, see face but not heart. And the devil ain't got no friend. Blanchett boy, I see you dilemma, and I know why you write your song. For you tired of trying to fit in where you clearly don't belong. The whole country knows Pam's the real answer for peace and prosperity. And you know now more than ever that labor mean chaos and misery. So you're really pleading with Pam, now you in a jam to rescue you again. But Pam cares for all, no will answer your call. Blanchett boy, we are feeling your shame and your pain. Real donkey, cha! You want to bamba? You want to chill with the big boys? Now you dey run kitty kitty, you dey run kata kata, no drink water drop cup. You want to bamba? You want to chill with the big boys? Now you dey run kitty kitty, you dey run kata kata, no drink water drop cup. Blanchett yeah, we looking for Pamela. See me all Mela. Screw up and don't get Pam dead for sure. So we jump ship and join the same labor. Who done kick him through the door? Boy, you nothing but a political football. Trump on labor, red Kool-Aid and wine. Label the wrong boy, label the wind up toy. Till they turn pound you behind. Glenn boy, you say you looking for pound. See me, I find that mighty strange and suspicious. For when hard life had you by you collar, you did know exactly where to find us. Boy, bang on door, no way. We here to stay, we have plenty work to do. Glenn boy, Bam have to save the nation from vampires, lost souls and traitors like you. Boy, you say you looking for pan. See me, I find that mighty strange and suspicious. For when hard life had you by you collar, you didn't know exactly where to find us. Boy, pan ain't gone, no way. We here to stay, we have plenty work to do. Glenn boy, Bam have to save the nation from vampires, lost souls and traitors like you. You want to bamba, you want to chill with the big boys. No, you don't run, get it, run, get it, check what a drop cup. You want to bamba, you want to chill with the big boys. No, you don't run, get it, run, get it, check what a drop cup. You want to bamba, you want to bamba, you want to chill with the big boys. No, you don't run, get it, run, get it, check what a drop cup. Want to bamba, you want to chill with the big boys. No, you don't run, get it, run, get it, check what a drop cup. You want to bamba, you want to chill with the big boys. No, you don't run, get it, run, get it, check what a drop cup. You want to chill with the big boy. No, you don't get it, drink what a drop cup. Want to bamba, you want to chill with the big boys. Now you don't run, get it, you don't run, kata, no fi drink water, drop down. Drop the big water down. Want to bamba, you want to
St. Kitts and Nevis listens to
WinFM 98.9.
Win FM 98.9.
It's the start of the week. It's time for a new perspective. It's time for Unfiltered. Join AZARD GUMBS, lawyer and deputy leader of the People's Action Movement, for raw and unfiltered political analysis of the current events in St. Kitts and Nevis. Tune in every Sunday evening from 7:30 p.m. on Win FM. Join AZARD GUMBS as he breaks the mantle and cuts through the unfiltered political noise to bring you the facts. Unfiltered every Sunday evening on Win FM 98.9.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.